We are going to get started on tonight's daily collective reads, but if you would like to get on the list for this evening, the list as always is open. As always, it is 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers, being semi-lio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. We're also doing 2 giveaways today. Our first reading giveaway is going to be a reading giveaway when we get to 50K likes. So make sure you're tapping that screen and we will get to 50K in no time. And as well, we'll be doing a reading for the highest gifter as well. I hope you guys have an absolutely beautiful evening. Prior to beginning today's daily collective read, I will be giving a brief recap on what we've been seeing in the cards over the last few days. Now, if you'd like to find those full readings, you can find them over on the place where we keep the videos. You can also find them over on the place where we keep the photos. You can also find them as a podcast over on my spot at Tarot Church and over on my stack. But before we get started this evening, first and foremost, most important question: how are you doing right now? There are no wrong answers. It is eclipse season. Okay, it's eclipse season. There are no wrong answers, and I'm just going to keep on repositioning and reminding you that when we're going through eclipse seasons, they often can bring forth unprecedented energy. And why do we see the fact that the energy can feel unprecedented? Because eclipses by their nature don't necessarily have a particular signature. They're amplifiers. Whatever we're feeling, whatever we're currently astrologically experiencing at the time that we enter into an eclipse season, it's going to feel like it's more intense, right? It's like the volume knob gets pulled, like cranked very high for the entirety of the eclipse, which means, and that can be beneficial, right? There's aspects to that that can be very, very impactful and empowering, particularly with energy like this, as it relates to utilizing time effectively, as it relates to building into new schedules, as it relates to building into new routines. It's very deeply rooted energy. And the reason I bring that up is because we've got 2 very powerful planets that are currently retrograding in Aries. And those are specifically Saturn and Neptune. Saturn is often how we perceive and how our relationship to time, while Neptune is how we effectively navigate our own memories. So there's a lot of work that we potentially identify as it relates to this energy in the realm of maturation. And what's beautiful about that is maturation is beautiful and healthy in the space by which we have room to energetically maturate, right? It's a lot of that quality and condition by which we are effectively able to find stabilization. This is further amplified by the fact that we see that both Mercury and Jupiter are currently also in Leo, right? So I want you to kind of think about that energy that we entered this eclipse cycle in, right? You've got a lot of that core energy. You've got a lot of that Saturn and Neptune that is digging deeper. And you've got a lot of that Leo energy that's working into the observation of effectively understanding our own energetic stature, right? So it's the conversation that often builds into what it means to find that sense of stabilization. It's not just something that allows one to be able to move upwards, but also the space by which one feels energetically stabilized in terms of how one is able to effectively identify, articulate, give meaning to, and be able to effectively give the shape of things in a way that help others be able to perceive things beyond previous purview. Now, the same energy, right? The same energy that can become very fortifying and stabilizing. If you're not in a healthy space when you come into an eclipse like this, it can create the observation of projection city, right? And what do we mean? What do we talk about when it comes into projecting? Projecting is literally going through experiences by which we are just energetically avoiding things, right? And the thing about it is, when we are energetically avoiding things, others are able to perceive our own avoidance, specifically because when we're dealing with the realm of our space, like this is why we talk about the things that, like the things we avoid, we effectively paint a circle around, because and the quality and condition by which we effectively avoid things, others see, right? Others see the typicalness, right? So that typicality that often occurs in the avoidance of things is why we articulate upon energy that projects often paints circles around the things that they're energetically avoiding, because in the projection, right? In the projection is the false perceived protection that others see as energetic avoidance. So the same energy that we're effectively navigating right now, I wouldn't be surprised if there are situations and circumstances that are potentially frustrating the self, but that frustration that one may be feeling like the culmination of a lot of energetic projection in terms of others' typical pathwork of repetitive projection. Now, this is having a different impact depending upon one's own astrological placement. And we went through all of the astrology the other day. Now, for those who are navigating Aries placements, this could be feeling like working into the understanding that the frustration of those that project is that it becomes the tantamount moment of unproductivity, right? And I can almost see I can see a lot of Aries energy just kind of working into the context of being able to address things with a sense of tact, right? And the thing about it is, when Aries bring tact to things, others sometimes identify the fact that they think that they're being cruel, but often an Aries tact is like the kindest thing that an Aries can give to another person. So there may be situations and circumstances by which Aries are giving the gift of tact while navigating whether another person is able to experience the gift of it based upon their own energetic reaction. Taurus, disposition experts right now. The observation or the understanding that you know others better than they know themselves. So this could be either be you having a conversation with another about someone being out of their own disposition, or potentially recognizing or identifying and getting to the bottom of another individual that's articulating that nothing is wrong, or clearly there's something that is, because you've noticed the change in their disposition. Gemini, focusing on productivity. There's a lot of this energy right now. There's a couple of signs that I see are cranking on things right now. Aries is one of them. Gemini is another. Right now, kind of moving through things, not allowing the state of setbacks to effectively deflate the self, but just allowing it to effectively rotate and continue into a space of perpetuity. Like, let your perpetuity be your productivity right now. Cancer, less heartbreak, more breakdance. I'm really kind of seeing that there's something right now with Cancerian energy, being able to effectively savor every minute of an experience by which you feel that you're coming into the embodiment, or coming into a time or period that you worked very hard for. I see you really embracing that. You're very similar to where we saw Taurus last week, not letting another person erase your own energetic moment, especially if you've been working towards it. Leo, handling misperceptions with a sense of closure, right? For a lot of Leo energy right now, the thing about it is, there you are trying to be as productive as possible. If another person wants to misperceive you as you're doing everything you can to be compassionate, so be it. Because for a lot of the Leo energy, others' misperceptions are often the closure that they need in order to understand where one's own energy is valued, seen, and appreciated. So let that effectively move you forward. Virgo, better systems, not bitter schisms. Working through some kind of experience by which you're trying to improve something should not have another person going deep into an egoic journey or taking it personally, when you're literally trying to be the force of reason in things. And again, kind of similar to what we were seeing for Leo, being able to be effectively compassionate to the self if another person is getting whacked out as you are trying to literally just try to improve something, not letting that affect you, just allowing it to direct you. For Libras, delightful vistas. It feels very similar to what we were seeing for Cancer energy. We see that for a lot of Libra right now, this could be feeling. Interestingly, I need to tell you, while a lot of energy might be experiencing this particular eclipse as intense, I actually see that this could be feeling like a moment of energetic bliss for Libras because it's the combination of Saturn and Jupiter in retrograde with Mercury and Jupiter, sorry, Saturn and Neptune in retrograde in Aries with Jupiter and Mercury in Leo, that's potentially creating a sense of energetic balance as it relates to being able to navigate or find a bliss state with greater ease. So allowing that to effectively derive and define one's own sense of stabilization towards healthy perspectives and potentially applying new routines that are potentially fortifying. Scorpio, blinders off or they're off. The thing about it with scorpionic energy, you know that you need somebody that does not exist with blinders on. And often the space by which Scorpios have been burned before trying to remove another person's blinders, you know you can't. Sometimes the quality and condition by which another person can navigate your intensity tells you everything you need in relationality to how open you're being towards them. So if that's effectively happening, being able to have some compassion that you're driving back to the self as it relates to your own sense of openness, being very proportional as it relates to what you feel another person is ready to navigate or work through. Like that's often you being your most compassionate in terms of energetically refraining from saying something. While for Caps, fact checking and coming correct, right? Capricorn energy, this is a big thing for you, right? When another person is being energetically clear and authentic in terms of what occurred, that's very important. So I see that for a lot of the Capricorn energy right now, that ability to navigate spaces by which one feels very energetically protected by those who are able to reaffirm experiences to you, or potentially working through a frustration by which another person was utilizing a generalization instead of specifics that may have hurt you. But again, being fortified and reaffirming why that's energetically important is you taking the nourishing best step forward. While for Aquarius, brave energy is empathetic energy, being able to apply empathy to things that allow one to be able to heal via the realm of feelings. The sound of being brave is often overcoming our own fears and being able to effectively be the energetic force of the inner child healing. And that's often the work by which we don't navigate from the fear that we felt as a child, but becoming the force that would have never experienced the fact or the need or the reason to be feared, to work through being afraid at all. So I feel like that's a lot of the brave energy that we see in that Aquarians are navigating through. But at the same time, either having conversations with others about experiences by which you wish you had been braver, or allowing that energetic courage to define your own ability to communicate from a place of compassion. Well, for Pisces, this may be feeling like a lot of reflection and relearning. There's something very important that we understand, that it's very healthy and mature to be relearning something, particularly as it relates to our own perspective. So I wouldn't be surprised right now if there's Piscean energy returning back to something that they may have previously thought that they were experts on in order to be able to see it with the fresh eyes of the current embodiment. That is where we find all of the energy prior to beginning today's reads. But if you'd like to find that full reading, you can find it over on the place where we keep the videos and over on my spot as a podcast and over on my stack as a VCast. I'll also encourage you to head over to my stack to learn more about our next tarot class, which is going to be happening on Thursday, September 17th at 5:30 p.m. PST, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We will be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the 4 cards of the minor arcana. If you'd like to become a part of that tarot class program, all you need to do is head on over to my stack and become a paid subscriber. Your paid subscription to my stack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. You will also, as a paid monthly subscriber, have access to over 9 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library class archive. Now, it's not necessary to catch up. I'll be doing my best to give you an update on everything we've studied prior to beginning that next class, but the material is there for you to receive as you're ready to receive it. You'll also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything we've learned and studied thus far. And if you become a founding member, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of readings, but you'll also have access to over 20 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library class archive, as well as the opportunity of receiving a complimentary assessment by me, where I will meet with you personally to assess where you are on your own personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your advantage, moving towards your tarot goals going forward. One of the things I tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. Don't let your lack of experience or your robust experience prevent you from joining us in these classes. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my stack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings or services. I also post my weekly newsletters there, which will let you know about my in-person events as well as my online live schedule and my mystic meditation articles, which give you updates on everything we've been seeing astrologically in the cards based on the lunar cycles. I just wrote one recently on this new moon that we had that felt a lot like a full moon. I'll have one out shortly on this full moon that we've got coming up. Finally, I want you guys to know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my students seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual's personal spiritual goals and journey work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or bi-weekly, as your schedule permits. Also, for my students that are seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute reads, again, weekly or bi-weekly, as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey, as well as my dream interpretation readings, which you can purchase per dream or as a series. If you purchase a series, I would encourage you to start to keep a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or bi-weekly with that journal and utilize the tarot to understand the key themes and messages coming towards you in the dream space. But let me know in the comments how this energy is impacting you personally, because it is going to hit everyone just a little bit differently. That said, the list is open tonight. If you would like to get on the list for a personal reading, you will be read for once we complete the 1 cards. It is 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers being semi-lio. Please keep in mind there are 3 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. We're also doing a giveaway tonight. When we get to 50K likes over on the Clock app, I will be gifting a reading back to the collective, so make sure you're tapping that screen and we'll get to 50K in no time. I'm going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as I was giving those updates. Hi there, Julia. So good to see you this evening. I hope you're having an absolutely beautiful night. Grand evening, Goofy. How you doing tonight, Joyce? How you doing tonight, Triple? Hello there, Lily. And thank you as well. It was, it was an experience, Goof. And thank you. How you doing tonight, Matthew? Glad you're getting some of that. And thank you as much as well. Hi there, Spirit. Welcome. Excellent. Oh, that's so beautiful, Spirit. Sending you so much support on that journey. Absolutely. And thank you for being here this night tonight and sharing time with us. How are you doing tonight, Joe? Hi there. Oh, thank you as well. How you doing tonight, Colin? And we're all aware that Yahshua loves us, AJ. How you doing tonight, Daniela? Hope you're having an absolutely beautiful evening. Grand rising, Ryan. Grand evening, Ryan. Hope you're having a beautiful one. We're having Summerween right now, Ryan. Okay. Oh, amazing. Is it today? Bon compleanno, Avatar. How you doing tonight, Bridget? Thank you for sharing the live. So good to see you this evening. Ivana, good to see you as well. Hi there, Kata. If you'd like to get on the list is open. You will be the 3rd person read for this evening. Excellent. Oh, Julia, sending you support. Ella, thank you for sharing the live and thank you for reposting. Hi there, Yaz. Good to see you this evening. I love a Cancer moon, though. It's a lot of emotion, but it's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Thank you for confirming. Thank you for confirming, Yaz. But here's the thing about it. It's either, I feel like for Libras right now, it's finding bliss or recognizing where bliss is. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Oh, sending you support, Julia. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Thank you. I know, Summer Ween. Absolutely, Julia. Mm-hmm. And how are you doing tonight, Mana? Welcome. Excellent. So we are going to get started this evening on our personal reads. We've got two individuals who have priority tonight, and then we'll be moving into one cards, and then anyone who gets on the list will be read for. I will stress I am keeping the list very short tonight. So if you'd like to get on the list, I encourage you to do so soon and make sure to do so, and you'll be able to get on the list. I will probably be taking about 3 or 4 more people this evening. So if you'd like to secure one of those spots, please let me know. That said, the first person we are reading for tonight is going to be Julia. Julia, if you're here, can you respond on, clearly you're here, Julia. If you could respond in all caps, let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. And as I mentioned, if you're joining us over on the place where we keep the videos, you can also get on the list today via my tree that has Binks in it in my bio. Absolutely. Oh, so far it's been wonderful, Brittany. How's yours been going? Welcome, Cosmic. Excellent. And just a reminder to those joining us on the place where we keep the videos, if you become a paid member there, you have the same benefits that I've stated for Superfam, which means you have a free 1 card reading that comes to you each day. And as opposed to 3 cards for 29, you can have 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more. Thank you so much. On the disco, love it. And thank you for those gifts, creative, and thank you for those heart muse friends. Please remember, please remember to recharge your heart muse if you're joining us over on the place, over on the clock app. If you would like an animal oracle card on top of your 1 card this evening. Perfect. hmm And I'm just pulling up your question now. And I just need a moment to read over this. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh. Mm-hmm. I got you, dear. And before we continue with Julia's reading, let's warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. I've got the animal oracle cards here. We're going to count back from 10, and when we get to 1, I will reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got the hair. We'll do that again after the next reading. Could I please get 4 cards for Julia? And thank you for being the first one on the list. You'll have 5 cards in your reading. And 1 more. Yeah, it's so fascinating because everything I'm seeing in these cards is working into the observation of the word that's coming through is over it, right? Like that's what I'm getting in terms of this reading. And when I'm saying over it, the reason I'm getting an over it here is due to the fact that, how do I describe this? It feels very much that there's something very important about having to go somewhere for a short period of time. Okay? And the word that's coming through is proving ground. Okay? Like that's the message that I'm getting. And what do I mean by proving ground? And I want you to understand, it's very sound. It's very sound to do things with proving ground. And when we say it's very sound to do things with proving ground, what we're really articulating and identifying is that when we are effectively working through something and we're not sure what we're doing, like we're not 100% confident that we can energetically do it, then it's safe to be able to kind of find a state or space where if something does not feel like it should, then there is another place that we can energetically go, right? So the thing about it is, this is why the guide's articulating that there's something about the location that you're currently in that was to a certain extent a proving ground, right? And a proving ground is a location by which you effectively identified and recognized and proved to yourself that you were able to effectively do something. So that, like that period is effectively completed, right? And that completion point that we're potentially seeing is recognizing, and I keep on getting something about the locationality that you're in. It almost feels, the best way I can describe it is it doesn't feel aligned enough to you. And a lot of that space that I'm seeing it not being necessarily aligned to you has to do with others holding your purpose with a sense of esteem. And this is really important, right? Because it's not enough to have a sense of purpose if you are in a location wherein others are demeaning that sense of purpose, right? You cannot, it makes it very hard to have a sense of purpose if others are not holding your purpose with the same esteem as you yourself are. So that's why we identify that for a lot of, like what you're basically identifying right now is I keep on seeing there's a lot of energy around you at this time, but they're not esteeming in the same way as you yourself are. So that's why I feel like that what we're basically seeing in relationality to this move is this move feels very liberating. And the reason that this move is feeling liberating for you is because you are going, right? You're going where the esteem resides. And you're going where the esteem resides, which is not feeling, right? Not feeling the sense of weirdness when you articulate to another what it is that you effectively set out to do, and another being able to identify and say, right, instead of saying, How are you going to do that? They're saying, that's amazing. I do it too, right? So that feeling of energetic camaraderie, that is what I see that you're energetically searching for. So it's feeling very much like this journey is what is potentially leading you towards your soul family. And this is what we effectively mean when we're working towards soul family, right? A soul family is identified as those who hold, right, who hold our purpose with the same point of reverence as we do our own. This is why we identify them as soul family, because it's the observation and the understanding of how hard it is to maintain that sense of purpose, particularly and especially if those around the self don't hold it with the same sense of prioritization. So we see that that's a lot of the work that you're kind of moving into right now. And I feel like a lot of that direction is you basically building towards it. However, what are you basically like what are you basically seeing that's happening where you currently are? You're getting a lot of allegories, right? It's getting pretty allegorical there, isn't it? It's getting pretty it's getting pretty allegorical. And when I say it's getting pretty allegorical, the reason I'm articulating that it's getting allegorical is because, and I want to point out, you stated, okay, and I just want to state it, like you gave the energetic assessment on the location where you are and why you can't necessarily stay there. And without going too much into detail, right? Without going into too much into detail, you stated you put yourself in a spot and you had to put your four ways on in order to maintain it. Okay? You said you were in a spot that required you to keep your four ways on in order to maintain it. And what does that mean? That means what you're basically, without even realizing it, you gave an energetic assessment on why you have to go. Because you're saying that the location that you're in requires you to be firing on all cylinders in order to maintain the energy required in order to stay there, right? And the four that you identified are your four senses, which means it's like you have to be on energetic high alert at every moment in order to energetically endure something. And again, bottom of the deck, it has to do with the astrocartography of the location that you currently find yourself in. And I'm not sure if you did an astrocartography reading. I'm not someone who does them, but every time I read for you on it, this is why I keep on getting that area that you were called to the first time is your proofing ground, because anywhere else you go is going to be a lot easier. And the reason I just keep on seeing this is because it's not going to feel like that for everybody there. It's not going to feel like that for everybody there. And you've probably recognized this. You probably recognize the fact that you feel a little bit like a fish out of water where you are currently. And the reason that you're potentially recognizing that is because there's something I'm seeing. Okay. There's a song coming through that I'll send to you. But it has to do, the best thing I can describe in terms of what I'm seeing there is it has to do with it has to it's about the it's the observation of the fact. I don't know why, but it's like everything I'm reading in terms of where you are, what you aspire to do feels like it's flying in the face of what everyone else is doing there, is the best way I can describe it. So it's literally, it's almost like you having to move against the current where you currently are. And so this is like what I'm basically seeing in terms of the difference in terms of moving is like going in a space by which it feels like you're moving against the current versus going like versus moving with the flow. So that ability of being able to identify and recognize, it says to me, this is why I keep on hearing this is why you were called there. Because if you are able to navigate that, right? Imagine what you would do in a space where air where energy is moving like with you instead of energetically against you, if that makes sense. I want to thank you so much for having that reading with me. And if this message connected to you as well, I'm going to write these cards down for you because they feel very important. This is like a, like I just want to show them to you because I know that you also read, so I know that this will be important. Like, check this out, okay? And it's not going to feel like this for everybody, but it has to do with your unique purpose, right? You see these cards? You see that final card, right? And there's that bottom of the deck, right? Thank you. I'm going to write them down for you in case for the next time I need them. Hold on. Oh, they all got, hold on. Yeah, I got to go. Sorry, I put them in the wrong order. Let me just get them right. Yeah, that's how they were. Thank you. But it's in, but actually, you know what? I need to show you this because they wanted me to show them to you the other way. Oh, that's fascinating. Okay, hold on. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, because this is what it's going to feel like when you get to the new location, which is going to, instead it's going to feel like this. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, dear. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. I'm going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as it was reading. Excellent. Mm-hmm. You're welcome. Hi, Alexandra. Welcome. Excellent. Good to see you this evening. I can send you some recommendations if you need somebody to move to do it. Absolutely. Yeah, but here's the thing. If you want a card at the bottom of the deck, that's a card that you want at the bottom of the deck. Absolutely. Hi, it's so good to see you, dear. Hope you're having a beautiful night, Tony. Oh, I'm so glad to hear things are going well for you, Brittany. Things are good here as well. All right, the next person we're reading for this evening is It's my. If you're here, can you respond in all caps? Let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. And if anybody else would like to get on the list for today, you will be the third person read for. You'll also, the second person read for. You'll also be the first person we read for once we complete the one cards. How you doing, Matt? Excellent. Second call right now for It's My. Second call right now for It's My. Excellent. All right. And also if anybody's on the hold list who would like to be added back to the list, I just need to know the date that you were added to the hold list. I'll be happy to add you back as well. Matt, these are donation-based readings, so if you would like to get on the list, all you need to do is send a donation. It's 3 cards for $29 for those who are non-subscribers. Absolutely. Excellent. All right, so we are going to get started on 1-card readings for Superfam and for paid members. So if you are a Superfam or a paid member who would like a card pulled, just go ahead and put your question in the comments. If you'd like to become a Superfam or a paid member, you can do so now, and you'll also be eligible for 1 card. Excellent. Mm-hmm. Daniela, I got you. Ooh, I like that question. Asking about the sun sign energetic connection of the divine counterpart. 1 card, please. Wow, that's not 1. I'm not surprised with a question like that. It's feeling Aquarian. These cards in combination are Aquarian cards. So I feel like there's something very important about an individual who does not compartmentalize their emotions, but knows very directly where to put them when they feel them. Bottom of the deck. Yeah, the Moon card. You know, the thing I see, you know, the thing I see that might be challenging between you and them might be in having the same tendency of retreating when one is upset, or potentially working into, right, working through wounds related to overly internalizing upon things. So I feel like a lot of the work that's going to happen when you're in connection with them, Animal Oracle, yeah, is reassuring, like reassuring that what you're experiencing is the authentic feeling, and that there's not like, I just keep on seeing there's not going to be any of this, like, it's fine when it's clearly not between you. It's like learning to take each other at face value again, because of the experiences in the past where others have hurt you in that way. Thank you so much, Daniela. And thank you for being a paid member. All right, let's continue right now. Hi there. So good to see you tonight, Esteban. How you doing? I have not, I don't believe so, Julia. We need an expansion pack on these cards. Yeah. Good to see you tonight, Laurel. How you doing? And thank you for those gifts, Creative. You're so welcome, Daniela. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Mm-hmm. Always, I feel like you always come in at the right time, Alexandra. Ah, excellent. I got you, Bridget. Highest priority, please. Yeah, this is a time of deep balance for you. I feel like there's something really important that's potentially happening in terms of understanding. I keep on, it's interesting because, and I always like this when I'm working. I always appreciate this when I'm working with those on a long-term basis, because it's reaffirming and reminding me back in terms of identifying that we saw a lot of work towards there was a dream that was I had that was specifically related to you. and it was rerouting, right? And rerouting is rerouting, which is being able to understand the quality of working through energetic expansion is often not necessarily changing our location, but changing our perception as it relates to our locationality. And so I feel like there's something very important here, specifically as it relates to like your own feeling of energetic perception. And specifically, I keep on getting perception and direction in terms of what the shape of your life looks like. Bottom of the deck, yeah, there's that blank manifestation. Remember when I was articulating and saying, don't don't make any don't make any immediate energetic vows. Like I keep on getting that this is confirmation as to why they wanted you to keep something to a certain extent open-ended for this present moment. I got you, Avatar. One card, angelic guidance. Putting a lot of different things in different places right now is the best thing that you can be doing, right? If somebody um if somebody is trying to ask you um if somebody's trying to ask you okay, so this is like a very specific message that's coming through from a guide. Another person does not have a right to ask you to consolidate your time unless they're putting something in your hand for it, right? Nobody has the right to ask you to consolidate your time with them unless they're giving you something back for it, is what I'm getting. Bottom of the deck. Yeah, because that is not, and like, and here's the thing about it, like not allowing another person to say, well, if you consolidated your time with me more, I might give you something, right? Like I keep on hearing woulda, coulda, shouldas, maybe ifs are not, cannot feed you. They're like, it's not working into the realm of false promises and possibilities. It's working into the observation of when something changes, another person will let you know, right? It's I keep on getting the same message. Somebody who cares about you will not say, well, if you change something, maybe I'll give you something, right? They understand that change only occurs like with the arrival of an offer and opportunity. Thank you so much, dear. I got you, Estevan. I keep on hearing someone say they'd heard a lot about you. So I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't go so far as to say, like um, it feels very similar it feels very similar. It has to do, like, if, I don't know why, but it feels like somebody who's looking for someone very personable. There's something I keep on seeing here in relation to someone looking for someone very personable. And the reason I'm keep on getting like, and here's the thing about it. I see somebody potentially wanting to bring, it feels like somebody wanting to bring an opportunity to you, but how do I describe this? Yeah, like it says like it's like it feels very much like someone who does not necessarily want to make you feel anxious before something comes into fruition, is what I keep on getting. There's something very, it feels like there's something very important there in regard to like the best way I can describe it in regard to being able to identify and recognize um what like this is like it's interesting, whoever this is, it feels like whoever this is recognizes that they've got some kind of I gotta walk, okay, I gotta walk you through this. um it says if somebody surprised you, it's because um they know that them arriving creates anxiety, if that makes sense, right? It doesn't feel like someone who is trying to catch you unaware, so much as it feels more like another that was basically identifying and recognizing um your own like it's like it feels like I keep on hearing somebody who's like been talking about you for something and potentially wanting to have an opportunity to meet you without creating anxiety, if that makes sense. Ella, I got you, dear. Can I get one card, please? We've got the Ace of Swords in its reversal. So what we're identifying there is it feels like there's something very important. Um, remember how I identified that there was specifically there was specifically a situation near you that feels very like miserable. And the thing about it is when another person, like there's some kind of inauthenticity that's happening right now. And the thing about it, and this is what's really painful, because when another person insists that someone has to choose, particularly energetically, everything becomes inauthentic, because you have to understand they created those conditions around themselves. Because you have to understand, and so this is what happens. Okay, I'll walk you through it. Others can't control how they feel. Okay? Others can't control how they feel. So there's nothing sillier than when an individual tries to say to someone, I need you to choose, right? Because all they do when they ask someone to choose is they ask someone to be inauthentic to them. So basically, this person literally, there's a situation where someone effectively forced a choice. And what they don't recognize in terms of forcing a choice is they've created an energy of inauthenticity around them, because it's energy that will literally say anything to be in proximity to someone, right? They basically they've created a circle of inauthenticity around them, because that's what happens when individuals force choices as it relates to others. So like that's what I'm seeing, and that's where that energy's that's where those lines are coming from. I got you, Laurel. We got the Seven of Swords here in its upright. So it feels to me like what I'm basically seeing is working into experiences as it relates to um, past circumstances or situations, or simultaneously um, that you've been going through a really fast transformation process, like incredibly fast. Um, and the with the bottom of the deck, yeah, like it's interesting because like I need to stress this. I don't know where your I don't know where your Mercury placements are, but or your Gemini. I should be saying your Gemini placements, but it says to me that there's like, it feels like I'm seeing something about you reaching some kind of point and everything moving much quicker for you. But the reason I keep on seeing that you're moving quicker through things is because this is you effectively like finding your flow state. I keep on getting you usually if you spent a lot of your life where others told you that you needed to slow down, right? Like I feel like you're finally, right? I think that you're finally recognizing that that's the sound of others that were desperate to catch up, is what I keep on getting. Thank you. Mm-hmm. I got you, Julia. Mm-hmm. You know, there's something really important to be made in the context of understanding what it means to energetically critique something. And when we are to identify the gift of a strong critique, is you have to understand the gift of a strong critique makes something stronger, right? The ability to critique something is correctly is the sound of loving something because it gets stronger in the quality and condition by which one is able to articulate upon what needs to change. Bottom of the deck. Yeah, again, with this 3 of Cups, I feel like what I'm seeing there is there's something about your ability. We can only critique things correctly when we're energetically close to them, right? Some things we can only critique because we have proximity. And often when we have proximity to things, we see things that others can't see, right? The ability to critique is fortified by nuance. So I keep on seeing that there's something really empowering in the space by which you carry both, right? You've got, you have a lot of, you have a lot of nuance in relation to an experience, but also you have, there's something about, it feels like there's something about um, the experience surrounding something that um, helps you to be able to articulate to others things that they themselves might not be able to see, is all I keep on getting there. Right? There's like, it's working into something in a deeply invested way, but something about that deep investment that is further amplifying your own ability to articulate upon it. So I feel like that is you kind of going against, like I keep on seeing like you kind of going against behemoth energy, right? And the thing about it, like the thing about behemoth energy is always like what do you like oh like what are you going to do about it, being like, well, not subscribe to it. You know what I mean? You know, it's like everybody else is doing it, being like, just because everybody else does it doesn't mean that like that's not a reason to do something. That's gross. Like that's gross. Absolutely. All right, Alexandra, good to see you this evening. One card, please. We've got the 3 of Wands in its reversal. So I feel like what we're seeing with the 3 of Wands in its reversal is the best way I can describe it. You know, there's a lot of energy that tries you, and it's like the last thing they ever see. Like it's, and the reason you identify this is like the thing I need to point out is the best thing I can describe when I see energy like this is that it's the observation or the understanding that um like other like us mind like individuals minding our business, right? Individuals minding our business when it comes to another person doing something that isn't okay is the sound of something continuing. So I feel like there's something really important about you being able to qualitatively articulate to another what is and is not okay, specifically and particularly. And I like to point this out, like when somebody says, like, nobody's ever said that to me before, and being like, that's because I'm the first person that's ever doing you the benefit of telling you, right? Like it's the observation, right? Like others don't realize what a humanitarian you are. Sometimes bringing awareness to others. And usually, the way you can tell that you're being a humanitarian in terms of the compassion you're giving another is when another person said, like, I wouldn't be surprised if there's energy that comes back towards you to apologize much later down the line because they say, like, thank you, you told me something that I needed to hear that nobody else would say to me. It's not, it's never a cathartic moment, but if you've been experiencing that before, like, recognize that that's because that was the sound of you being another's blessing. And the fact that they don't recognize it in the moment does not mean that you need to accommodate or accept that apology. You can allow that to fortify or maintain what that energetic distance is. Absolutely. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, Bridget. I'm very, very happy to hear that. You're welcome, dear. Oh, that's wonderful, Esteban. Thank you for confirming what I was reading. Oh, that's excellent. No problem. You're so welcome, dear. Highest priority for Ivana, please. Let's see here. Um, the thing, it's interesting because this has to do, um, I feel like this has to do with a little bit of what's happening with what you're experiencing or seeing right now in the dream space. And the best thing I can identify about this is when when we're healing, when we're like truly healing, one of the things you can usually tell in terms of a healing journey is when energy around you starts projecting like wild, like absolutely wild projection. And what we mean by absolutely wild projection is when you're able to see another person that is coming towards you with all kinds of feelings and having absolutely no understanding what you've done to energetically generate those feelings. Healing, right? The answer is healing. And the thing about it that's upsetting, right? And it's working into, right? And especially with this animal oracle, yeah, there's that blank manifestation there. So the observation that it shouldn't be that way, right? But that you have to understand, like, the message is coming from a guide is there's a lot of there are a lot of those that are working through, and I think that you probably recognize this, there are a lot of those who are working through the false perception that healing is a latent state, right? That if you're feeling energetically miserable, like, one should just wait within it instead of doing something about it. So the ability of, I feel like there's something very important about you working through something in such a way that you're finding, like, I feel like I see you like working to shift a lot of energy into productivity and allowing for that context or that shift to occur that potentially or especially allows for a deeper sense of stability. But even in the context by which we see that deepened sense of stability, if another person is projecting towards you in that way, a good way to effectively clarify upon it is by simply stating to them, what would you have me do? Right? Allow the context of them being able to define and articulate, what would you have me do? Fortify your own energetic direction, particularly and especially if what they potentially articulate to you, if they're coming towards you with criticism, but no actual direction, that's all you need to see. Like that is projection energy. Some energy only projects. You're so welcome, Ella. Oh, thank you for confirmation, Laurel. You're so welcome, dear. Thank you as well, Julia. Thank you as well for receiving these messages, Cody. Absolutely. Always. Yeah, they do. And here's the thing about it. We all like I know we it's not that we ever stop projecting. There's always some context by which we're projecting. But our ability to recognize and identify that is how we can effectively do better, right? Like when we take accountability for it. Excellent. I got you, Jamie. One card, highest priority, please. Page of Swords in its upright. So I feel like this is someone identifying and articulating upon um their own, like identifying and articulate, like it feels like somebody who's coming to give you support in some way, right? And it feels like somebody in spirit that's trying to articulate that they have your back on it. Bottom of the deck. Yeah, you know what? Here's the thing. Like, and whenever I see energy like this, you know, um, better to look foolish and careful than assumptive and regretful is what I keep on getting. Yeah, especially with the hair energy, right? When you're being, I need to point this out. When you're being careful about something, and another person tries to say, like, see, you are making a big deal out of nothing. Exactly. Right? You made a big deal out of nothing, which is the observation of understanding that the reason, right, the reason that something is nothing is because you made a big deal out of it, right? It's almost like it's the observation of someone, it's the observation of someone potentially trying to make you feel silly because you called them out on something. And when you call someone out on something, they'll try to be dismissive and say you're being silly, right? And sometimes that means like you've completely, right? You completely, like they're going, oh, look, you were being silly. That's because you called them out on it. Thank you so much for receiving that message, Jamie. Absolutely. And creative. One card on career, please. Two coming up. We got the Hermit and the Page of Wands. So this feels very, I feel like I'm picking up something here. Like, this feels like meeting of the minds energy. This feels like someone who wants to work with you because they've got a skill set that dovetails very well with yours, right? So this is potentially looking for energetic relationships or opportunities where there's mutual investiture that pays back in big ways. Animal Oracle. Yeah, especially with the crane. Um, working into like it says to me like there's some kind of breakthrough to be made. I keep wondering, you might not need to go away from somewhere. You might just need to do a trade, right? It's saying you might not need to, the solution might not have to be found in moving away so much as potentially trading time with another, right? Like the manifestation might be one trade away, which is being able to understand the quality and situation of understanding the value of what you have that allows for something to be more beneficial. So just be conscientious about that, because I feel like there's something important there. And I feel like that might, I don't know if that what your dream space has been looking at like through right now, but it feels like something potentially connected to that. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, dear. I got you, Minnie. Good to see you. One card for Minnie, please. Oh, from the bottom of the deck. this card's coming out a lot right now, but I don't think it's a negative. Like, this is what we can often experience when we're working through eclipse energy, which is being able to energetically observe and identify what it is that we're putting our force or intensity towards. Bottom of the deck. Yeah, especially with the Nine of Swords in its reversal, what that effectively identifies or works us through are situations and circumstances. Like, I keep on getting, um, you're very overly critical on yourself in terms of recognizing that no one is perfect. We all make small mistakes. So your ability to energetically identify and work through things, right? Don't allow yourself to be devastated when you make a mistake, right? Just become pragmatic, right? Let the pragmatism guide through the error, right? Don't get devastated, get pragmatic. Absolutely. All right, my friends. Final call right now for anyone who hasn't had a one card yet. We are going to be moving back to personals, so I am going to look for It's My again. If It's My is here, if you can respond in all caps, I'll be happy to begin your reading. And if anybody else wants to get on the list this evening, you will be the next person read for. It's 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more, 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers. Up, we've got some more one cards coming through. I got you, Yaz. Highest priority, please. We've got the 4 of Wands in its reversal, which is, there's something to be said that's very important as it relates to individuals that are perpetually changing plans, right? Which is not to say, like, it's not to say that, and the best thing, it's actually like, it feels like a very important message as it relates to building into the context of the last minute, because unless, so here's the caveat, like, if one is in an occupation where one does not know one's schedule from one minute to the next, then there's always a little bit of energy by which you can build into a bit of reprievement there. But when you're working into the context of being able to articulate and identify what one can do ahead of time, then that ability to energetically observe and work through things, right, allows for the context of being energetically conscientious, especially with the 6 of Cups and its reversal. There's something really important that I'm seeing there. I keep wondering, especially when there's young energy concerned, is what I keep on getting. There's something important that I'm identifying there in terms of being able to identify, like, articulate and have that conversation ahead of time. Like especially if there's something related to, especially if you've articulated this to another person, like if you've communicated to another person that you can't do things last minute and they only bring things to you at the last minute, like, it's very telling, is what I keep on getting. Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. And Nikki, 1 card, please. There's nobody on this earth that can tear us away from another person. But you know what can tear us away from another person? When another person claims that another person is tearing us away from them. right? Like, behold the iron, behold the irony. There is nobody on this earth that can tear us away from another person. But you know what does tear us away from another person? When another person cannot stop saying they're tearing you away from me, right? Because that is the sound of them tearing something. Because, right? There's not a single person on this earth that can tear us away from each other. But if another person keeps insisting upon it, then what they're really saying is, like, when another person says they're tearing you away from me, what they're really doing, what are they really saying quietly? They're trying to force you to choose, right? That's why it's not okay. So that's what, like, call them out on it. Like, when someone says, you have to understand that is a latent forced choice. When another person keeps on saying they're tearing you away from me, what they're really saying is, I'm forcing you to choose, right? They're creating an imaginary problem to force one to choose. So your ability to say that's very toxic, right? Because if you're basically you're trying to create the situation by which one is forced to choose, they're the ones fabricating that. Thank you so much, dear. If I have not drawn a card for you, go ahead and let me just repost your question. And for those who are asking, living, these are one card readings for you. Oh, you got an angelic near you. These are one card readings for those who are subscribed, super fam, or paid members. So if you would like to become a super fam or paid member, I'm happy to draw a card for you. Absolutely. Excellent. I got you, Alexandra. I have no idea. You have to be clearer in terms of what you're saying, H. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I'm not even sure if it means what it, like, those are a lot of words together. I drew, yep, I got you, Melissa. Hold on a moment. Let me pull back. I drew for Yaz. Mm-hmm. One card, highest priority. This card's coming out a lot right now, too. You've got, it's interesting because it feels to me like you have some kind of technique. I gotta point this out. Like, when somebody's like, I've never seen anyone do that before like that, that's because it's called technique. Like, someone, like, when someone's like, that's not how you do it, and being like, that's because that's my technique. Right? That's because it's like some people wouldn't know technique if you hit them on the head with it, right? The sound of somebody saying you're doing it wrong is you finding your technique. And here's the thing about it, as long as you already know how to do something, right? If you already know, and like sometimes, like, the thing about it, like, don't allow another person critiquing your technique to affect your style, right? Because especially with the swan, I can't, like, energy like this, I can't, right? Because, like, and it's the observation of someone, right? And I need to point this out. Somebody with, like, absolutely no humility, without a single humble bone in their body, will try to get close to you by criticizing you and then expecting you to thank them, right? And the thing about it is, it doesn't work. It does not work with individuals who have a healthy sense of themselves, right? Like, there's that person going around being like, oh, well, like, oh, you could do it, like, be like, a hello would be nice. Like, have you ever have you ever heard have you ever heard of a hello? But pay attention to the forced proximity that occurs with someone that with someone who tries to like completely do away with the pleasantries and just get straight to the critiquing with the expectation that it's going to blow your hair back, but instead it makes you want to yak. It makes you want. It's like it's a lot of that like who raised you energy, you know? I don't know, man. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm sending you so much support on that journey, dear. All right, my friends, we're moving back into for those who are joining us over on hold on, just reading over the comments on the place where we keep the videos. Hi there, Daniela. Hi there, Big. We're doing personal readings right now. I'm in shock with my one card. Yep. Oh, really? Oh, that's fascinating, Daniela. If it's any consolation, it was feeling like new Aquarian. It was feeling like very healed Aquarian energy. It was very deeply seated in Aquarian. I wasn't necessarily seeing any cusp related to it, if it helps. Okay. And how you doing today, Sophia? So we're doing one card readings for those who are paid members. So if you'd like to become a paid member, I'm happy to draw a card for you. Excellent. All right, we're going to continue. A mind, body, spirit reading, Alexandra, works into a reading on what's happening with you mentally, what's happening with you spiritually, and what's happening to you in your embodiment. And thank you for the follow, Happy. Excellent. All right, let's continue right now. The next person we are reading for, and I'll probably be taking maybe one or two more individuals tonight if anybody else would like to get on the list. The next person we are reading for this evening is going to be Nikki. Nikki, if you're here, can you respond in all caps? Let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. If anybody else would like to get on the list right now, it is 3 cards for a donation of 29 or more. 4 cards for a donation of 23 or more for my subscribers. Things in my bio, please keep in mind there are 3 things I do not read for across these apps: pregnancy, medical, and legal. Happy to give insight on anything in private readings, and you can book private readings on my site. We're also doing a giveaway this evening. When we get to 50K likes, we will be gifting a reading back to the collective in the form of a drawing. So that is also, make sure you're tapping that screen. If you're joining us over on the clock app, we will get to 50K in no time. And if you are on the hold list and would like to be added back to the list, I just need to know the date that you are added to the hold list. I'll be happy to add you back as well. And just taking a moment to read over. Okay. And thank you, XX, for the follow. Hi there, Nikki. Good to see you tonight. Can you let me know if we're doing a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer? Hi there, Carbon. Welcome, Genesis. Ooh, I love that question, Nikki. Perfect. All right, and we got bottom of the deck coming through. Before we get started, let's warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. I've got the Animal Oracle card here. We're going to count back from 10, and when we get to 1, I will reveal the card. 10, 9. Why are you looking at me like that? 8, 7. What? Oh my God. 6. Strix giving me the funniest look. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got the horse. We'll do it again after the next reading. She was just looking like, she got up and was like, I think it has to do with Nikki's reading, because she just got up and she just gave me like the most, the most judgmental look. Like it was the most judgmental look. It was like, I can't even do it. She was like, I was like, what? And then she just turned around and went back to bed. Okay, I get it. You know, I know why. Yeah, I know why. Okay. I know. Okay, yes. Thank you. All right. And before we continue, let me pin up. I'm going to pin up Nikki here, guys. Make sure to give Nikki some love. We got 4 cards coming through. Oh, really? Okay. So, there are some like, I've got 3 different things coming through here. And some of them have to do with your past life. Specifically, so and this one's a little bit hard to navigate, because when we are working into the observation of being able to energetically detect things, okay? And here's the thing about it. There are other places where energy gets this, which is the observation that just because you can detect something doesn't mean that you cause it to happen, right? And the thing about it is, this can often feel very destabilizing, because the thing is, basically, um, you have to recognize that we experience time consecutively, right? And when you recognize that time is a dimension, then the ability by which one is able to identify and recognize the dimensionality of time is often identified and articulated as a gift. But if others don't experience that way, it can also feel like a heavy burden, because it's often working into the context of being able to energetically anticipate things, right? And there you are, energetically anticipating in relation to, in the context of others that don't necessarily have the same relationship to time as you do, right? So this can often feel and this is often, and the thing is, you can't help it, right? And the hard part is when one has that ability, being able to being able to navigate whether for others it feels like it is affirming, right? Like working into the context of something that feels like it's affirming versus situations and circumstances by which I wouldn't be surprised if you had relationships that fall apart in the context by which another person says, you're creeping me out, right? Because the thing about it is there's nothing creepy about it if you can't help it. And being around others who just kind of understand that, um, you know, it's something that I think that, like, it says to me, like, I see a lot of situations where um, that may have been energetically, some things are socially repressed, is the best way I can describe it. So I feel like I see you trying to heal from some social repressment as it relates to experiences or situations by which you and this is like social repressment by which others um like you effectively identified or articulated the direction of something going the way that you knew it would, and then others being like how did you do that, and you being like, well, it was just there. So so that's the first one, and that one's hard. Like, that's something that's hard to do here, specifically because you have to navigate, you have to navigate how others, often navigating that gift is built upon others' receptivity, right? Like, you can't make the assumption that others are as receptive to it, but allowing it to be, like, the best way to help with that is to write down, like, just write down anything that comes to you, and see, and let that be your confirmation in terms of recognizing and identifying the direction that it comes towards. Um, and the worst part about it is, and I think you know this too, like, when you understand that another person, and this is what I keep on saying too, when another person has nefarious intent, it's not like someone's going to tell you that. It's like, that's the worst part about, like, when somebody's got nefarious intent, right? And you're able to detect their nefariousness. It's not like you can be like, so I think you're being nefarious, and then being like, yes. That's never gonna happen, right? That's never going to occur. So I think that it's hard, because I wouldn't be surprised again where like, there are situations and circumstances by which you fought, like, the thing I keep on getting is, you follow your own feelings as it relates to another person being in their authenticity, because I keep on getting that one of the things you also have is you're pretty much an authenticity detector, right? And so, and again, when you're an authenticity detector, um what's hard about that is, another person working through something, right? Like, another person working through something and feeling energetically aligned. What it really defines is your ability to articulate to another, right? Like, your ability to effectively articulate to another, like that, like, it's hard because, like, when you're navigating that, you're rarely going to get confirmation in the moment, but you'll probably get confirmation afterwards, right? And the way you'll know the confirmation on that is when somebody says to you, you were right about them, right? Which is often, like, I keep on getting the quality or nature by which you recognize something that feels energetically misaligned, and you try to articulate it to another, and then they effectively try, like another person tries to dismiss what you saw within them until they themselves experience it, right? Those are the ones that are coming through the most. Bottom of the deck, yeah, particularly the thing about it with the Fool energy is, you know, there's a lot of work that I'm potentially seeing in relation to the observation of what feels like often when I see gifts like this, it can be hard because when you are identifying to another what you can see, others sometimes misinterpret as energetic control, right? And the thing about it is, just because you see something doesn't mean that you're seeing it into being, right? Like you're not seeing it into being. So the hard thing about that is you're like, that's what I meant about just not letting it change how you're proceeding, but just writing your own insights down so that when times come, you can be reaffirmed in terms of something that you identified and articulated that allows you to feel fortified in trusting your own intuition on it, right? Like I keep on getting, that's a gift for the self to a certain extent. And that like the hard part with having a gift like that is you're often going to have moments by which others like are not going to be affirming it, but that doesn't mean that you're not correct about it. Thank you so much for having that reading with me. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. If you would like to get on the list is open. I've got room for maybe one more person on the list tonight before the list will be closed. I'm going to take a moment to read over some of the comments that came through as I was reading. Hi there, Maja. If you'd like to get a reading, all you need to do is send the donation. It's 3 cards for a donation of $29 or more for those who are non-subscribers. Excellent. You're so welcome, Nikki. Hi there. How you doing tonight, Mia? Welcome, Rainbow. Good to see you. Excellent. Yeah, thank you for also receiving this message, Ella. Mm-hmm. And this is why Strega was looking at me so seriously before we started the reading. Mm-hmm. It has to do with your past life. Mm-hmm. Authenticity detector. Oh, I love that avatar. Excellent. Thank you for also receiving that message. Yes, absolutely, Ella. Mm-hmm. All right, let's continue right now. The next person we're reading for tonight is Alexandra. Alexandra, if you're here, can you respond in all caps? Let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. And as I mentioned, if anybody else wants to get on the list, you will be the next person read for. Hi there, dear. And before we continue with Alexandra's reading, let's warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. I've got the animal oracle cards here. We're going to count back from 10, and when we get to 1, I will reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got the bear. We'll do that again after the next reading. Excellent. Well done, Ella. Look at you. Excellent. And Alexandra, could you let me know if we're doing a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer tonight? I got you, dear. Excellent. Mind, body, spirit, please, for Alexandra. 4 cards, please. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. So the thing I'm seeing that is very difficult is that um, you have an like, you got a rock solid mind. And the thing is I just keep on seeing there are individuals who have broken themselves on your rock solid mind. And the reason, the thing you'll often notice with that is working into the context of understanding that when you're dealing with someone with a rock solid mind, intimidation does not work. And the thing about and once another person, and when I see somebody with this type of mind space, when another person stoops, and the word is stoops, right? When another person stoops to intimidating you, you leave them on the curb. Is all I keep on seeing. And I need to write that down because that is interesting, because that's coming through. That's coming through directly from an ancestral that's also connected to your mind space. Right? When another person stoops to intimidation, you leave them on the curb and you never look back. And I feel like the thing that's interesting about it, like, do you hear the sound right now? Do you hear like the sound of Strega trying to get out? There, I feel like there's a lot of energy that tries to get back with you. But the thing about it is once intimidation, like once intimidation tactics seen, right? Like danger, right? Because the thing about it is when we care about each other, we don't try to intimidate. Why would we ever try to energetically intimidate when we could have a conversation? So I feel like there's something really important there in relation to a lot of energy that realizes that they lock themselves out of your life because they tried to intimidate you and it was the last they ever saw of you. Good for you. Really good for you. And that's what I keep on getting from your ancestral. Like, I've got an ancestral connected to it that just says like round of applause, right? Like, why would you I'm literally, I literally see you saying to someone like, what's your name again? Oh wait, yeah, wait, no. You were the one that tried to intimidate me. What was your name again? Started with an I. Oh, I. You tried to intimidate me. That was it. Yeah, that's your name. That's your name. That's it. Oh yeah, your name's end of story, right? Your name's end of story, right? Because that's what I basically see there. And I keep on seeing, and the thing about it is, to a certain extent, you're like you're again, you know, you're an ego detector, right? And this is what I keep on seeing in terms of like, and that's what I keep on getting in terms of how you come across, because I feel like there's something about that, and this is what I feel like is hard. I feel like there, like, and I keep on getting this, like, there's something about the way that you come across that gets others' wires crossed, right? And I like to point this out. And when a healthy point by which your wires are crossed is the understanding by which another person sees how you appear and makes an assumption as to what it is that you prefer. Okay? You want to see somebody, you want to see someone, you want to see someone make a fool of themselves. You want to see someone make a fool of themselves? Because I feel like you've seen a lot of people make a fool of themselves. Never will you see someone make a fool of themselves more than by seeing how you appear and making an assumption as to what you prefer. Because that is the sound of their prejudice, right? There it is. Like that is literally the sound of another person. And this is the thing about it. Prejudice, that's what prejudice is, right? Prejudice is seeing how someone, like, if you need a good definition, of prejudice, it's seeing, right? It's seeing how someone appears, right? And making an assumption on what they prefer. That's all there is to it. That observation is, and that's the thing about it. I feel like I feel like something about the form that you embody, you've had to encounter a lot of observation of others' prejudice. And a lot of that prejudice is based upon, right? And this is where I see that your spirit's coming in, right? The observation or the understanding that the quality and condition of the self is not defined, right? It's not defined via the space or nature by which others, and I feel like this is what happens with you a lot, others, that you come towards them, that you help others see their prejudice. And I wouldn't even be surprised if when you try to bring up another person's prejudice, they try to educate you, right? Like that is how much ego that you have to often navigate day to day. That you literally will be in the process of helping another person recognize their prejudice. And what will somebody deep in their ego try to do, right? They'll try to effectively educate, right? As you're pointing it out, because that's how defensive they are about it. In the process of you literally showing another person their prejudice, they will defend themselves by trying to put a lesson towards you, right? Because the lesson that they're trying to bring forth is their energetic protection, right? It's the sound of entitlement, which is the quality and condition by which another person refuses to effectively understand the quality and condition by which you're trying to articulate something. So I feel like a lot of that work that you're potentially working through is, and the best way I can describe it is, and this is why I see that there's been a lot of situations by which you've felt like, and I need to point this out with the star card and its reversal, the difference between somebody that likes the appearance of having you around versus actually wanting to hear what you have to say, right? You are an energetic purifier because you're very, I feel like there's something about your experience by which you become very attuned and aware to the difference between those who like to have you around, right? For the sake of appearances versus truly valuing you by listening to what you have to say. And so I want you to understand that's why you probably notice that as you depart from situations, that those situations tend to crumble, because what energy doesn't recognize is you navigating through spaces is like, you might not even be aware of it, but you're running energetic tests in relationality to weather, like your weather, like the word weather, like you're navigating the weather, because the difference between whether somebody, right, whether somebody likes the idea of you as an energetic concept versus understanding the quality of the gift that you bring with your presence in things. And that is the quality and situation by which they don't say, oh, can you just not, can you just appear but not speak? Right? Can you just appear but not speak? Can you just stand here? But yeah, but don't actually say anything. Like, don't say, because they recognize that, and here's the thing about it, your guides say that your value is in this nodal point, right? So the quality and condition by which you find a place that's truly for you, it's going to be the space by which not only does someone desire you in the quality and condition by which you appear, but also in the aspiration, And the aspiration, the reason we talk about aspiration is connected to breath. So someone that doesn't just want your breath, your presence, someone who doesn't just want your breath, BEARDTH, but also your breath, BREATH, because once you find that, you'll be in a space of alignment. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, dear. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. I can take maybe one more individual on the list for tonight if you'd like to get on the list. I'm going to take a moment to read over the comments that came through as it was reading. And I have to point out, even as I was reading that, I'm sure you saw a lot of the projection energy that was coming through on it. So I hope that helps clarify as well. And just bear with me a moment. Yep. Sorry, I had to clear the space. I got you, Striggs. Give me a minute. I was reading. Okay. Did you notice she stopped scratching at the door as soon as the reading completed? Thank you for also connecting to this message as well, Ivana. And Ella. Yeah. Excellent. You're so welcome, dear. Excellent. All right, hold on. Let me just let Strega out for a moment. Be right back. Okay, go for it. All right, my friends. Final call right now for anyone who is interested in having a full reading, or anyone who is a subscriber or superfan who has not had a card pulled this evening. If you are a subscriber or superfan who has not had a card pulled this evening, all you need to do is post your question. I'll be happy to draw a card for you. Thank you for getting on the list, Nikki. I've got you on again. If you could let me know if you'd like a general reading or if you have a specific question you'd like me to answer. And also just a reminder for anyone who's on the hold list, if you would like to get back on the list, you just need to let me know the date that you were added to the hold list. I'll be happy to add you back as well. And while we wait for Nikki's question, let's warm up those intuition muscles with an intuition check. I've got the animal oracle cards here. We're going to count back from 10. And when we get to 1, I will reveal the card. 10, 9, 8. Oh, no, you did, Ivana. I got you, dear. I apologize if I didn't see it. Excellent. Now I've got you on. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got the Raven. We'll do it again after the next reading. Excellent. Oh, I got you, dear. Absolutely. Hi there, BB. Hope you're having a beautiful evening. Okay. And before we get started, let's warm up those intuition muscles with the intuition check. I've got the animal oracle cards here. We're going to count back from 10. And when we get to 1, I'll reveal the card. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got the hair. We'll do that again after the next reading. All right. All right. Can I please get... Oh, did you call that? You did? You saw one. Okay, I was like, I got you, dear. I'm going to pin up BB here. Guys, make sure to give BB some love. Reader supporting readers. Good to see you this evening. Let's see. All right. So, how do I describe this? In terms, you're not the only person. So, the thing you have to recognize that we're potentially seeing right now, how do I describe this best? When we're working through eclipse energy, the first thing, I'm sure you've heard me say this before, it often amplifies anything that we're feeling. So the most important question I would have is navigating when it started. Because if it started around the time of the eclipse, then it could be an amplification that is occurring as a result of the fact that we're still in the eclipse season that started with that new moon that we experienced in Leo, and it's continuing through right now until we get to that Pisces full moon. And the thing about it is, the best way I can explain how we sometimes feel as it relates to small things is it's like like the best way I can describe it, like when I work through it with eclipses, is like it's almost like it's like the princess and the pea energy, right? Which is something that would typically not bother you, right? Becomes the thing that you can't let go of, right? and and this is going to effectively continue to culminate, because you have to understand that we're moving into, right? We're moving into a it's a Virgo full moon, right? It's a Pisces full moon in Virgo season, right? Which is working into the realm of the specific, right? It's working through the minute, it's working through the minutia, it's working through the small details upon things. So I want you to kind of think about that, because there are two different ways that we can kind of carry this energy right now, which is either, and I got to be honest with, often there's going to be some signs where it's going to feel more disruptive than others, but the quality and condition by which we are able to detect or feel that something is energetically off, that allows us to be able to define or articulate something better, is qualified through that observation, right? It's navigated into it. It's building into the context of helping to identify and articulate upon what feels to be mutually beneficial. So make sure, like, anything that's coming through right now, and I like to describe it as, if there's something that you've had your mind on changing for quite some time, right? If you've had your mind set on changing something for quite some time, then this is beautiful energy to identify and move into the context of making those changes. But if something feels, right, if something feels like it's out of nowhere, right, sit with it for a moment, because that ability to effectively sit with it helps to effectively determine the quality and nature of working through the energy that helps to trigger change, versus bringing change into things because of the eclipse period. And I feel like, in terms of that as well, and I need to stress this, this can also create the energy for those who are projecting to completely, right, to completely effectively show themselves in terms of their own. I keep on getting this, like, the one thing I'm seeing here, and it's working into the context or the observation of what feels fortifying and conditional, is arriving into observations or understandings built upon what feels energetically reasonable. And so the thing I like to point out, particularly and especially as it relates to energy like this has a lot to do with the best way I can describe this is the type of energy where someone can dig their heels into the ground um, specifically when I say digging their heels into the ground in a way that um, helps another see just how unreasonable someone is being. And the quality and nature by which one identifies that is working through the context of, like, the one thing I keep on seeing related to this right now is how do I describe this best? You're what you like this is the best way I can describe it. What you are feeling right now that probably does feels a little off for someone, like for someone that isn't invested in their healing journey, then what it can effectively bring out is it's basically the type of energy that brings out the worst in those that are projecting, but in the quality and nature by which, and I want to point this out, if you see somebody projecting like wild in this energy, then you can take that as a note in terms of understanding that, like, take it as a note in terms of there being no energetic hope in terms of their own journey. Because you have to understand that the thing you have to recognize is, particularly when it comes through Virgo with Pisces, and especially as we're working through Mercury and Jupiter, the quality and condition by which you are able to observe that those that project will often try to pull upon the reservoir of another's compassion. But you have to understand, and this is what happens, there's energy on this earth that feels like they're getting away with something because they're pulling from the reservoir of another's compassion. But all they're doing is they're separating themselves from spirit more and more, right? Because spirit is always watching. So what basically occurs, right? Like, you'll see situations in this type of energy by which another person feels like they're deriving, right? Feels like they're deriving joy or pleasure from potentially like working into the context of another's compassion, right? And in the same quality and condition by which that occurs, right? They've effectively, what they basically do is they completely energetically separate themselves from spirit. Because the one thing you have to understand, the one thing that spirit cannot abide is seeing another person gleefully, right? And the word is gleefully, right? The one thing that spirit cannot abide is another person gleefully continuing to take from the reservoir of another's compassion, right? There are consequences. There are consequences to those actions, right? There are serious consequences to those actions. And so that observation of that occurring, I wouldn't be surprised if that is potentially what you are picking up upon, because it is it's the quality and condition, and this is the thing that you have to understand. Like those who are not connected to spirit always like, ha, like there's no getting away with things. Like there's no getting away with things, you know? And so the quality and condition by which another person feels that they're getting, like this is a type, like the quality and condition by which another person feels delight because they feel like they're drawing into the reservoir of another person's compassion, right? That that is the moment by which, right, that's the moment by which like spirit, like I keep on getting, that's the moment by which spirit's cup becomes a fist, right? That's the moment by which spirit's cup becomes a fist, because it's the observation and the understanding that that quality and condition is not one that like that, like there are things that spirit is just, you know, like, and that's what I keep on, so like you're probably picking up on that because that's kind of the energy that we're experiencing right now. So if you're feeling that, just make sure that you're returning a lot of compassion to yourself, particularly as it relates to another person that may feel, right? That may feel that they are taking advantage of your compassion. There's no taking advantage of compassion. It doesn't exist. And those that feel that they're taking advantage of another's compassion don't recognize what awaits them, right? Like we do. we do. Thank you so much for having that reading with me, dear. And if this message connected to you as well, it's very common for those who need these messages to be here to experience them. We are doing personal readings right now. We have reached the conclusion of the reads for this evening. Guys, also make sure to give Vivi some love, readers, supporting readers. I'm just reading over the comments that came through as I was reading. Oh, of course. Well, I mean, Pepper is like completely enamored with Vivi. Started, yeah. So it was probably starting around the time. It was probably starting around the time that we started to get moved. Like you're going to feel that more and more as we move closer, right? Like as we move closer to that, that like Pisces full moon and Virgo season. Yep. Thank you for also connecting to that, Nikki. And thank you for joining us through the repost, Rainbow. Thank you for confirming that resonates. Oh, that's a way of thinking about it, Ryan. Yep. Mel, the list is closed this evening. We are doing one card readings for Superfam and paid members if you would like, if you are interested in a one card. Sending you support on that journey. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Nikki and BB. You're so welcome, dear. What do you mean, Nikki? All right, my friends, final call right now for those anyone who is a paid member or a super fam who has not had a card pulled yet. If you would like to if you just put your question in the comments, I'll be happy to draw a card for you. Or if you'd like to become a paid member or a super fam. And thank you so much, Daniela, for those gifts. I appreciate you. Excellent. Oh, but I mean, like, here's the thing. I mean, like, the thing I like the thing I need to point out is the energy. Like, I'm just articulating that because the energy is probably going to amplify before it subsides because we're moving towards that full moon. So I need to point out it's not that you can't do something in this energy, but make sure that you're doing it with a sense of proportionality based upon what you're energetically experiencing, right? And that's like, again, the way I like to identify it when we're going through this full moon energy or the eclipse energy is it's something that you've had your heart set on doing for a while. Like this can be the energy by which you allow it to be the work that you step into. But what you want to avoid is something that feels like a massive deviation, if that makes sense. Thank you for sharing the live, Warcraft. All right, my friends. Final call right now for anyone who is a paid member or super fan who has not had a card pulled tonight. I want to thank you guys so much for being here this evening and receiving these messages. We will be back on, we will be offline tomorrow and we will be returning on Friday. If you'd like to get on the list now, you will have priority for tomorrow. Um, Daniela, if you'd like to, if you'd like to send um, a donation, I'm happy to draw an additional card. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You're so welcome, Nikki. Excellent. If you miss, if also, as I mentioned, if you would like to have priority for when I come back on Friday, then you can do so anytime getting on between now and when I go live. We'll give you priority, which means you'll be read for before we start the daily collective. I believe Friday we'll probably be back on at our normal time, but I will be confirming. I'll be confirming that later in the disco. I want to thank you guys so much for being here this evening and sharing in these messages. Huge thank you to my followers, old and new. Thank you for being here this evening and being a part of these readings. If you became a super fan or a paid member this evening, welcome. I would encourage you to join our subscriber only disco channel, where you can effectively introduce yourself to the collective. You can also find there a special coupon code in the perk section that will give you a discount to our tarot class subscription program. Our next class will be on Thursday, September 17th at 5:30 p.m. PST. 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll be continuing our studies into the tarot with a focus on the 4 cards of the minor arcana. I got you, dear. One more additional card for Daniela, please. Thank you for that donation. It feels like you're going to meet them in some kind of therapeutic or recovery setting. I feel like I see somebody who you meet at a moment of actively healing from something. But I need to point out, like, whatever it is, like, I need to, like, it says to me that I feel like they're going to be fresh out of a relationship, but it was mutual. And there was something about that being healthy, like something about it feels like another person following their purpose and them letting them go because something about the nature of their separation is something that they know that they cannot change about that individual. So I feel like your ability to kind of help them navigate through some kind of point of grief, but also working into the context of appreciating, like I keep on seeing you're going to have a lot of respect for them because they're being energetically respectful of another journey. If even if it's moving them further away from that person, I feel like that's going to kind of build into the context by which you appreciate and value them even more. It's seeing how energetically compassionate and respectful they are. I want to thank you guys so much again for being here and receiving these messages. Huge thank you to my followers, old and new. Thank you for being here tonight and receiving these messages. Huge thank you to my subscribers. Your ongoing support means the absolute world to me. I hope you guys have an absolutely beautiful night. Please take care of yourselves. Please take care of one another. And we will do this again.